up, guys? We are back. We finally have another video coming out. It's been a while, I know, but this time we have Dan Wade here, and he's going to be teaching us how to wire a jig. So we got a couple candy bars here because these are the recommended jigs to wire, and we've got some AFW toothproof wire. And then what's this one called, Danny? Mason wire. So yeah, we're gonna be going through a couple here. Anywhere?
Well, we're just gonna, kind of run you through on how to do this because it's a valuable thing to have, especially when there's lack of current and or a lure that doesn't works well but doesn't work quite as well. And wire can just make all the difference in the world at times,
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of learning how to twist it properly and then go out and put it to practice,
Yeah. You don't want to do it like me. I'll show you my example too. It's no bueno, but you'll show us the right way to do it. And in what conditions would you use the wire?
Again, mainly lack of current and or slow current. If the lure swims fine just the way it is, just leave it alone, But this can be a benefit when a lure has the right kind of action, but it's not as sharp as it should be. And it'll make it sharper because it's kind of it's like a U-joint in your car, It goes, the whole thing goes like that, and it's just more freedom of movement.
Gotcha.
I mean, there are certain jig companies and or people that will take and put a little ring up on the front up here.
Oh yeah, the quick clips, right?
Well, no, an actual ring. They'll take like this ring.
Oh, the clavios, right?
Yeah, and they'll braze it on up here. To me, I don't think it works as well as wire. I really can't explain the difference. But there's just something in it. Wire and I'm thinking it's just because it's smaller.
Yeah.
Less going on. It's just smaller, and it's been tried and true for years and years and years and years. So it's got its validity. And again, it's an aspect of enhancing what you're already trying to do. And if you got a little trick in the trade, pull it out and use it. One thing I will not recommend is leaving it on your jig. When you're done fishing, cut it off. Be done with it.
Why is that?
So it doesn't kink, so it doesn't rust, so it doesn't do a lot of things.
Gotcha.
This whole concept of this wire on these surface iron things comes back from a time where monofilaments were a lot stiffer. Beecham was the wire of choice, but Beecham was steel, where this is stainless. It's basically piano wire. And the problem with the guys with the steel, if you left it on and you didn't go fishing for a couple of weeks, and if you didn't pay attention to it and you made a cast, your wire broke. Wire's really, you get 25 feet or 40 feet or whatever it is for $3 or $4,
Yep.
And you're using little 2 feet sections, so that's an awful lot of wire.
True.
And it's just not worth it.
So say if you were fishing it out in the water and you got a little kink in it, it just moves a little, would you?
I'd dump it.
Dump it.
Yeah. You want it to, it just, I don't know if you can see that, but it hangs straight. You don't want it coiling like this, or you don't want that sharp kink in it because that's the bending point. That's where it's going to break.
Okay.
You hook a fish and you get it to the boat and you go gaff it, and it wraps around your gaff.
Yeah. Done.
Dump it.
Yeah. Next.
You're
fish thrashes it. That's what happened to mine.
Yeah, you're on a sport boat or something like that, and sometimes the deckhand will make the mistake of wrapping his hand in it like that. If it doesn't cut his hand, it kinks your wire again, so you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, well, so after that happened,
so it can be a valuable little trick, and it can really pay off. And it can really pay off when the current's slack. And that fish is swimming around, you see it, it gets behind your whatever jig you're fishing, and all it's doing is just mimicking your lure on the way in. Because you need a little something more to make it work. And this can be, again, not like anything always, but this can be the trick. I have fished on so many of these boats for so many years. And they're not biting the surface.
2645.
I go out there with this stuff because the current's a little backed off or a little goofy. Wire up one of these bars and put this thing on, and you knock down 5 or 6. And I'm like, what are you doing? Using wire.
I saw that one on there myself.
And it makes all the difference in the world. So it's just a good little trick to have. I mean, the bad thing now is the guys like myself, there aren't a lot of people that even do it anymore. I do it, Buzz Brisbane, the Prowler fame, he fished wire quite a bit. Alan Fay, the guy who's got the El Capitan up on sport fishing, he almost exclusively fishes wire.
You can see it.
Ray Montero will from time to time, Don Sansom when I can get him on a boat. But again, I mean, we're all guys been doing this stuff for 50-something years. So it's a good little thing to have in your back pocket when things aren't working, and you can step it out and make it work. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a candy bar, if it's an original candy bar like all this stuff is, or if it's some of the ones made today. If it's a caddy, if it's a Salas, if it's a JRI, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's not working quite right and the fish are moving around a little bit, they're showing some interest, but they're not biting it, give it a whirl.
True.
Because you never know. It's just one of those little things that can add to what you're doing. It's in essence, it's just taking that lure that's just doing this, and all of a sudden, it's doing that, and at a very slow speed. Because when the current is slow, the fish are slow.
Yeah.
When the current's picked up, the fish are moving.
Yep.
So so that's what it's all about.
Gotcha.
Regardless, you don't have to wind a jig real fast to catch fish on. You got to wind it at the right speed, whatever that speed is. And the fish will tell you what that speed is. If you got to slow it down, speed it up, whatever you got to do.
One more question right there for you. I had also heard that if it's very choppy, is it good to wire your jig to keep it kind of under the water?
It can keep it underwater better, especially the blunt nose style stuff. These candy bars can. The JRI 7 can. Maybe 5Xs. All of that kind of style of lure. It will help them just stay in the water in general, whether it's choppy, calm, or whatever it is. I mean, I wire up candy bars almost exclusively, maybe 5Xs exclusively. Dart Special, it's a Salas jig, exclusively. And it makes all the difference in the world. We used to back in the days of the bartender and Powerhouse and some of the various other stuff, we'd wire some of that stuff as well. But it was something that was done, 50 years ago, everybody did, because it was just nature of the game. Reels were a lot slower, and line was a lot stiffer, and so on and so on. I mean, if you go back far enough, you look at all these sport fishing landings, especially in San Diego, they made, back in the days of linen line and stuff of that nature, they made packaged wire leaders and or nylon, what they called it back then. And they were wound up and sold in little packs, with whatever size hook, and so you could tie it on, So I mean, this trick has been around forever and ever.
Wow.
But it's just kind of something that's been forgot over the years.
All right, guys. So now that you've gave us a little backstory about wiring jigs, we're gonna go straight into it. So here we go. Let's do it.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to take a ring like so. We're going to attach some wire to it. It's called a Haywire Twist. A couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to show you more or less the old-fashioned way first, which is the way I grew up doing it. But you need to bring this together, and you're going to make a loop in your wire like so. And then you need to twist these ends at the same time, similar to looking like braiding hair. And you're going to do it, 5 times, 6 times, whatever you feel comfortable with. But again, you see where we're wrapping them both around each other, not one around the other. So we get that to where, you know, again, we've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 turns there. Now we're going to bend this down to where we create 90 degrees. And we're going to wrap that around tight so they lay on top of each other. And again, you know, 5 or 6 times, whatever you feel comfortable doing.
If we get the call, whether we maybe just call one guy.
And then we're going to make it to where we're going to break this piece of wire off. And to do that, you don't want to cut it, because if you cut it, it leaves the sharp edge, and the sharp edge will lay your fingers open. But if you take this, again, you make a 90 out of that wire, and then you just spin it slowly around, back and forth.
All right, I'm leaving. Good night. Have a good week.
It breaks off. You can go like that. It is not gonna cut you in any way. And that little piece of wire right there will not come undone. Then we're just gonna do the same thing with the jig on the other end. So again, we take the jig, we bend the wire around to create the loop, and you're going to hold the wire, spin it between your fingers, that, you know, 5 or 6 times. Take it down, throw the 90 in it. Make the 90 again. Break it off like so, and again, you have this nice ring, this nice loop, which allows the freedom of your lure to enhance it in a swimming action, because it's not tied by a piece of line which holds the ring steady. As you know, I mean, you could fish this, you know, catch 5 or 6 yellowtail on this, then you might want to look at really looking into changing your wire. But it's a good little trick to know. It's, if you practice with it a little bit, it's not as difficult as people think it is. And it's an excellent way to enhance your chances of catching fish. So that was the Haywire Twist. We're going to continue to do it. We're going to do it in a little bit different fashion. So you'll have multiple ways of trying to do this. So what we're going to do here, again, this is a little different version, but the result is pretty much the same. You stick your ring on the hook. Gives you somewhere to hold on to it. You come back up here again, you make your loop. And now we're going to come up here and hold this together. And what we're going to do is spin this. So you see how it's still basically doing the same thing, but it's a little more elongated. So you get your loop like so, and again, you're going to break it down, bring it down to the 90. Spin it around. Again, I'm not going to sit there and take it all the way back up, but that's just a little different version of a Haywire Twist. Makes a bigger loop. Myself, it's just another way to do it. Myself, I prefer the way we showed you the first one. Mm-hmm. This one here.
What is the name of that one? That's a Haywire?
That's all a Haywire Twist. All of them are Haywire Twist. It's just a different version that people do. For any of this, it's a matter of practice. Mm-hmm. You know. You just got to practice. And once you get it almost becomes like tying a regular knot, a San Diego knot on your main fishing line. You get to where you can almost do it that fast. None of these will pull off because this here is not what holds it, or this here. It's this here where it's been wrapped around itself. That's the holding factor. The rest of it is just to clean it up and make it look good, and not so you don't cut your fingers.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the Haywire Twist in a nutshell. It's a good source. It's a good thing to learn. It'll come in handy one day. You may not use it all the time, but it will definitely come in handy one day.
All right, guys, there you have it. Those are 2 variations of the Haywire Twist. Thank you, Dan, for helping us out and sharing your knowledge with us. We greatly appreciate it all the time, man.
No problem. Hopefully you guys will, will practice it and then, perfect it. And it'll come in handy. It definitely will come in handy. Well, yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
You got it, man.
If you guys want to see anything else, any other tips or whatever you guys want to learn about, jig sticks, rods, reels, lines, anything, comment down below and let us know. See you guys.